Hi, everyone, and welcome to Unsupervised Consequences, day number 45. Today, we are talking about gluttony, and this is a chronicle of how I went from over 450 pounds to a very modest 270 pounds as of a couple days ago. So, as I said, today we are talking about gluttony, and I have a quote prepared, which was, "Am I tough? Am I strong? Am I hardcore? Absolutely. Did I whimper with pathetic delight when I sank my teeth into my hot fried chicken sandwich? You betcha." And that is attributed to James Patterson. And I'll tell you, that is a fantastic quote, especially when it comes to that man is a man after my own heart. I'll tell you that much. So, with regards to gluttony, I know we're a little early today. I am going to go see a friend who's playing live with his band. So, I'm going to do that. But I thought I would get this done because it's very important. And I'll tell you, this is definitely one of those Everest type situations when it comes to the journey that I'm on. Because even today, we ate well. I smoked beef tenderloin. It was delicious. It was great. But at the same time, I'm my biggest concern is, am I over? Even when I do have one meal a day, am I overindulging? That's a good question. And a lot of the times, I think we don't realize that gluttony comes in a lot of different ways because I really do tie it into the I believe it's FOMO, fear of missing out. We have a huge interaction in general where we are um, told so many things with such a short timeline or availability. And even that's a marketing tactic where to say, almost sold out, only a few left, and so on and so forth, to pressure us or convince us to purchase, attend, go through with whatever opportunity it may be. But that is one of the things that we have to realize, is that gluttony isn't the satisfaction of our hunger, needs, wants, whatever you want to call it. It's more so just a dopamine addiction, right? Because it's that feeling we get from doing something indulgent that makes us feel that way. I'll give you an example. Was today it was beef tenderloin, so it's steaks. It was very tender, very good. Vegetables. It was I would call it a smorgasbord of food, just an abundance. And um, afterward, my wife and I we were bouncing off ideas as to what to do for dessert because, you know, why not? It's Saturday. If you can't have dessert on Saturday, like, what's the point of life, right? And we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and debating and this and that. And I think, at times when we have those conversations, the tricky part, or maybe a blessing in disguise, is that we poke holes in each other's ideas. Say, oh well, they don't have that. Oh well, they don't have that. Oh, but they did that. Remember, we tried it. It's not very good. And we go back and forth and back and forth, and then we arrived on fruit. And I know, fruit doesn't feel like dessert. And I'll tell you, part of the journey that I'm on, one of the things that I've stayed away from the most has been bread, but the bigger, uh, more evil thing is sugar. And I'll tell you, when I do have sugar and a little bit of an indulgence in sugar, it will have ramifications for a few days before I feel okay. And that's not only digestive wise, but also my emotional state, my mental well being, just all those things start to factor in. And you don't really realize. And that's one of the things that has happened through this course of time that I've been trying this stuff, is that even the slightest or those little indulgences will result in um, that engine starting to run again. It was like, oh, maybe we can have dessert. Maybe we can have dessert. Maybe it was a little bit sweet. Maybe it's, a little maple syrup on the pancakes. It's fine. Little things like that, and then it just starts to compound, going and going and going and going and going and going. And one of the key components was that, like, I had an apple, an orange, and a banana. That's a lot. It's a lot. It's a full plate of fruit, right? But I felt so much more mm, content, or maybe even satisfied, but at a different level. Not that sugar, but more so the satisfaction of the completion of it was where I felt good. And it's one of those things that I and I said this on stage a couple times, was that, like, in my heart, I'm still a fat guy. You know, in my eyes, I still see a fat guy. And I am still fat. Don't Let's not pretend, right? I just went down from morbidly obese to just obese. So it's it's little progress you have to celebrate. But the idea is that those differences, or achievements, don't really start to show up in your own perception for quite some time. And that's why that consistency and persistence are so important, because it goes the other way. In my last series, Where's the Rest of Me, which I have put into a playlist and it is available on my channel on YouTube. um, I went on to explain how one of the funny things that someone else said was that it's you don't have to be medically supervised to get fat, but all of a sudden you need medical supervision to lose the weight. Doesn't really make sense, does it? Especially considering that uh, um, obesity is a new pandemic of the whole world. The whole world has gotten obese for zero purpose and zero reason. But that is the way the world's going, and it's up to us as individuals to fight it. And I'll tell you, gluttony is definitely one of those things where doing without has a weird satisfaction that I do believe is beneficial for all of us. It's one of those ideas, or character flaws that we all have in our mental state, that we look to satisfy needs that don't actually exist. And that may be, and I like that has to do too with our position in life, social, familial, like all these different areas where it's almost like a bragging right, where it's like I got the best cut, or I had seconds, or oh, I got the best dessert, or little things like that that have ingrained our way, maybe culturally, or just habitually through our families, or our existence with everyone around us, that it's convinced us that these are moments, or attainable aspects that provide pride or value, when in actuality they are slowly killing us. And that's one of the key components. I was going to say weird, but I think it's key more so than weird, but a key component to this journey of becoming better, or putting our health first, is the constant realization that our indulgence isn't about satisfaction of needs, or wants, or even greed, but it's a molecular or hormonal thing that is driven by our existing bacteria in our stomach, that just sends out those, yeah, more sugar, more sugar, more sugar, more sugar. And we say it as a joke, but the idea that in Canada we had Mr. Sub, but there's also Subway, which is everywhere else. But the idea that Subway normalized the idea of eating an entire loaf of bread as a sandwich, it's weird. It is weird, right? When you think about it. And I remember growing up, uh, I would tell my mom, "Oh, I need uh, more than one sandwich," and she was like, "I was like, oh, can I have some money?" She goes, "Why?" I'm like, "I want to buy some lunch." She goes, "But I make you lunch." I'm like, "It's just not enough food." And she goes, "I'll make you more." And she made me huge sandwiches that did finally satisfy me, but at the same time, I'm an idiot. So, but that idea, or that perspective where I just needed more food, um, back then when I was young, I was still growing and I was maturing and building muscle, and it was a whole bunch of things, right? Now it's just being gluttonous and dumb. And that's one thing my wife always, thankfully, she's there to just kind of drop a good word and be like, "Are you sure about that?" And which should definitely be a meme, but I think it already is. But the idea that we need people around us that'll say, okay, it's your own decision, right? Nobody can stop you from making a bad decision, but you want to make sure you're consciously making it and not just frivolously going, what's the big deal, right? And that's one of those things that gluttony is so very villainous and sneaky that it will entrap us so very quickly and we don't even know it. And that's why that idea of a pause, or just to take a second, um, is worthwhile. It's definitely been helpful for me in this journey, is understanding that when I take the time to not indulge my senses, but instead pause and just take a second, just 1 second, to say, do I need this? Can change things from making, treating myself, which is totally reasonable, and that is a fair and balanced perspective. It's Saturday, it's the weekend, there's nothing wrong with it. Or am I just indulging a bad part of my mind that's defeating the training that I'm trying to go through? And that's what glutton really is. And that's why you have to fight it on that perspective of knowingly making a poor decision is fine, but unknowingly just rolling with bad decision after bad decision is where gluttony comes into play. So I think I'll leave it on that. The idea is take the time to think about the decisions you're making instead of allowing the chemicals in your brain just make them for you without your actual involvement. And that will see you have a better outcome uh, than before. Definitely worthwhile. So this has been Unsupervised Consequences, day number 45. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. I am trying to grow the channel, and I am trying to learn how to do a pull-up. It's a very exciting time, and something I've never thought I would do. So tune in tomorrow. I'll be back with more information and possibly an announcement. We'll see. So in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will be back tomorrow.